What a week it's been, eh? We had Yvette Open Arms, Closed Doors Cooper. Well, she's a woman that's never seen a migrant she doesn't like, just not in her own house, of course. She was criticising Suella Braverman this week for being a part-time Home Secretary with a pound shop Trump approach. The irony. But let's get one thing straight here. While the Chardonnay-swilling elites are fumbling with their worry beads over Suella's America tour, her conference speech actually made her not just a breath of fresh air, but more like a hurricane in the stale corridors of Westminster. Far from the hysterical claim that she's a voice in the wilderness, actually Braverman is the megaphone, in my view, for the silent majority. And yes, Yvette, there are statistics. A Home Secretary's best friend when they're actually telling the truth, that is. Because I've got some stats here. A striking 60% of our islanders reckon we should put UK workers before migrant workers. A remarkable 63% say current immigration levels are more packed than a tube during a rail strike. An eye-opening 66% agree with Suella that uncontrolled immigration poses an existential challenge to the West. Someone cue the dramatic music on that one. 69%, nudge, nudge there, Charlie, believe that illegal migration is about as sustainable as a Jenga tower built by a toddler. And a paltry 14% think we should let EU judges have their mittens all over our borders. Now, all of these stats suggest to me, and they're your views, that doesn't look like an out-of-touch politician. To me, that looks like someone bang on the money. And let's not forget the 39% who think, like Suella, that multiculturalism has fizzled out like a wet firework. The other 30% probably haven't stepped foot in the likes of Tower Hamlets, where schools have fewer white kids, and actually this 46.8% of Tower Hamlets residents who were born outside of the UK. Now, why is that an issue? Well, look at the 2016 Dame Louise Casey report, which sounded alarm bells about social exclusion being louder than a carnival barker. Is it racist to say, hey, have we got a problem here? It's about as British, if you ask me, as moaning about the weather. So let's talk about the average pensioner, right? Fred and Ethel, say, who bought their quaint English home back in the 70s. They perhaps can't recognise their community anymore. It's like they woke up in a different dimension. The leaders making migration decisions are from another dimension as well, untouched by the ramifications. They're not the ones, you see, having to face the same issues as perhaps victims in Rotherham, for example, who were sacrificed at the altar of multiculturalism. So if Suella Braverman had the keys to number 10, I reckon she'd be like a political Bear Grylls, doing whatever it takes to ensure the UK isn't the world's doormat. If that means ditching international conventions or airlifting illegal arrivals to Ascension Island or elsewhere, then so be it. And she's got a willing electorate standing behind her, the stats show it, with a thumbs up and a cricket bat ready for action. So why does the left attack Braverman with the kind of vitriol usually reserved for a Piers Morgan tweet? Because she shatters their fragile identity politics. A brown woman who doesn't buy into their narrow, race-baiting ideology. The humanity. In a nutshell, folks, if you ask me, Suella Braverman is not an echo, she's the voice of reason, the voice of the majority, and dare I say it, the voice of Britain.